Okay. Hi, it's nice to meet you. My name is Kendall Amos. I do freelance for TrueStar. And so I'm just
Mhm.
going to be asking a couple of questions about the blog she was talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so our first question is, what inspired your career paths? And can you tell us if it was always the clear choice?
Okay. So for my career path when I was younger, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I didn't know exactly what my business or what our business would be. Breezy and I, being twins, we always knew that we wanted to have a career together. But I think that one of our biggest challenges is that when we were younger, we didn't know who we were as individuals. And once we found who we were, I found who Coco is. Breezy found who Breezy was, and we got to really see what our strengths were. Again, it's funny because when we knew we wanted to be entrepreneurs as kids, we actually wanted to be hairstylists and we wanted to open a hair salon. Like that was our first entrepreneur idea. We are like, when we get out of high school, we're gonna open a hair salon. Because growing up, everybody in our family did hair. Like, when you're young, it's like going to the hair salon on a Saturday. That was like a natural thing for us. So we're like, we want to do hair. And then now, fast forward with us having an eyewear company, I never thought we were going to have an eyewear company ever. I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. But I think when you have a challenge and you go through certain things in your life, you always find the best ideas out of struggle. And we struggled for a while, and we also struggled being bullied, and glasses were they protected us from being bullied in our own eyes. And so that's how we were able to come up with the idea and the love for eyewear.
Okay. So this kind of goes into our next question. What are some positives and negatives of going into business with family?
Mm. Okay, so I'll start with the positives first. The positives are in I would say with family, the positives are like you know communication, especially if it's a family member that you talk with all the time. You know how to communicate with that person, and there's love. And so when you go into business with family, you have this certain love that you also end up giving to your employees as well, because it's like an unspoken way that you communicate with your family, and it's an unspoken like love of energy that you give. One of the challenges or one of the negatives I could say is that when you go into business with family, especially if it's someone that's like right there all the time with you, it can be challenging because you don't know when to separate your business conversation and your personal conversation. And to be more on a personal note, for Breezy and I, for a long time, we kind of sacrificed a lot of our sisterhood because we kept talking about work all day, every day. We'd be in the office all day, and then we'd come home, and we're still talking about eyewear. And I'm like, can we just like kiki and like have girl talk? And we didn't know how to separate it. So that would be one of the negatives. And I think that the big part about going to business with family is to have a rule where there's like, I always say there's no feelings in business. And it's not in a bad way. It's more about like, we don't bring our sisterhood feelings into our business work relationship.
So how did you overcome that challenge of not being able to separate work from home?
So it took a long time. It took a lot of self work. And I think once we became tired, we started being like, you know what? This is an issue. Because we didn't see it at first. And then we became extremely tired from it. And, I think that we had to make a choice. We had to say, hey, we need to learn how to turn off and we have to build our like sisterhood and build our friendship. And I do think that like Breezy and I together, we're so close. Like she's my best friend. And it's so funny because people are always like, you guys are always together. I'm like, no, we're just always working and everything we do for work is always together. So it seems like together, which means we really are. But we didn't really get to spend like what it was too? We didn't have the time and moments where we sat down and we were like, what have we done that was like fun and like sisterly? And it just kept being like everything on our checklist was like, okay, meetings, all these trips, but they were like business trips. They weren't like vacations or going to the movies just with the two of us. And that's how we actually like kind of stepped out of it once we realized we weren't doing things to like create memories as sisters.
Okay. So going into your partnership with Zenni, what were some things that you knew had to be included in your new glasses?
What were some things that we knew we had to include, you said?
That you knew you wanted to include in your new glasses?
Oh, so first of all, going into partnership with Zenni was a dream come true. Like when I tell you that this was on our wish list for years, so I still can't believe it. It feels unreal to me. Like whenever I get any of the ads, I'm like, those are our classes. Like we worked hard on these, you know. But I what I wanted to make sure we included was just like a piece of us. I think that the way the Coco and Breezy brand started and still is this way, we always like there's always a rawness, right? Even as we grow and scale our company and as we like partner with a really big company, we want there to be a personal feel and a personal touch. And I think that's so important because the way we started, we had a personal feel and a touch. And then once we start growing, we started to lose it a little bit and we realized that, you know, people love to feel like they're our friend. They want to have a story. They want everything to be intentional. And for us, whenever we're designing our product, or if we're naming the product, or if we're creating the marketing campaign, we like to always have intention behind anything and everything we put our hands on. And so when we were making the glasses, a lot of our frames are named after affirmations. And so we thought it was really important for us to bring that onto our Planet CB in collaboration with Zenni collection because we want people to feel like we want them to feel happy and we want them to know that these are our words to you and let's like share them with the world.
So just adding a personal touch.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that you guys also love music. So how do you responsibly create a schedule that allows for you to indulge in all of your passions?
Ooh, you have all of the good questions. Can I tell you really quick that this is probably my most favorite interview? Because, no, seriously, because every interview we've done, people ask us the same questions over and over. So I really appreciate you like making me dig deep in my mind for these answers. Yeah. So so the way we do it, one, I'm really grateful. We have an awesome team. So with our eyewear company, we have a team, and with our music, we have a team, and for our talent stuff, we have a different team, and we make sure everyone from all of our different teams are aligned on the one big goal. And so the way we schedule it out is like, you know, we're just always kind of working, but we enjoy what we do. Usually during the daytime, we're working on our eyewear company projects. And then in the later afternoon and like evenings, we're pretty focused on our music. And you know what's crazy? I love what I do so much that I don't ever feel like I'm at work. Like I love it. And it's so crazy. Sometimes I'm like, this is fun. And I can be crunching numbers. I'm having a blast. And I feel like I'm not at work, you know? And I feel very grateful that I'm very passionate and I get to live my dreams.
So you would spend most of your days like on a certain thing and then your nights on a different thing?
Yeah, but honestly, it really depends. And it really depends on what the project is. But Breezy and I divide and conquer a lot. So I think that's the great part about like right now she's doing a call for something else while I'm holding this down. And so having a twin is amazing because we can also divide and conquer if you get double scheduled for anything.
Okay. So what made you guys decide to go into eyewear rather than something more common like clothing or shoes?
So we always loved eyewear, and it's so funny because we were always known for our style. So whenever we wear clothes, people are like, "Did you make those clothes?" I'm like, "No, we're in eyewear." And then I remember in the beginning when we first got into eyewear, you know, it was actually kind of most of the companies that were launched at the time when we first started. It was all like super major, you know, licensed companies. And so when we would tell people we have an eyewear company, they're like, "An eyewear company? Like I don't get it," you know. But for us, it's a passion. One, because we always loved sunglasses and eyeglasses, and then two, I think that we as Black women, it's important. There's not a lot of founders that have started companies that are Black. And the way we design our products, the way we like do our marketing initiatives, we make sure we're speaking to everybody, but we want to make sure the communities that aren't being spoken to, which is our community, we're being that brand to be sure that we're not being forgotten about. And so I think that's where the biggest passion comes in. And we also love to mentor other eyewear designers or, you know, people that want to get into eyewear design or create a company in eyewear. We mentor a lot of those people as well, because when we first started, we had no idea what we were doing. Now, will we ever add any other categories? I don't know. People are asking, but I'm like, we have to like conquer the eyewear industry first, and then possibly add on other categories.
Okay. So right now you are working with Zenni on a children's eyewear line. So can we look
Mhm.
forward to a line catered towards adults in the future?
As a collaboration,
Yeah. Or any.
who knows? Maybe. Who knows? I mean, I think that what we're doing with Zenni right now is probably going to be like, I don't think this is going to be a one-off thing, because we're changing lives and we're changing people. And it was such a beautiful, like, experience working with Zenni, and even like with the way the product, we had to, it was crazy, because we actually had to shoot our campaign and work on all the behind the scenes up until launch during the pandemic. And so it was wonderful to work with their team and our team. We've made a lot of pivots, because originally we were supposed to do our campaign shoot at a beautiful studio, and we had to do it on FaceTime. And I think that the fact that we are all able to like make these pivots together, and the feedback of the product has been really good. Who knows what happens in the future?
Okay. So what are some challenges that you faced breaking into the industry?
So one of the biggest challenges, I think it was a little difficult for people to take Breezy and I seriously. We don't look like the typical people what you see in eyewear. So when you go to, there's a really big trade show called Vision Expo. And Vision Expo is an eyewear trade show where pretty much every eyewear brand in America and even outside the States, they go there, they set up a booth, and they sell their new collections to store owners. And so most of the people that you see walking around are white men in suits. And so for us, when we first started going, people are like, "Oh, you guys have an eyewear company? Are you models?" They just couldn't fathom that we had an eyewear company. Everyone swore that we were models for another brand. And then until we finally got a booth and we got to show our collection, and then we also started speaking on panels, and people got to really understand where we're coming from. We did hard work. Like, we know the eyewear industry inside and out. We know production inside and out. We know supply chain inside and out. But I think that the challenging part was our outside looked different, and so it was just challenging for people to take us seriously at first. And then we finally got our first cover, a magazine called 2020 Magazine. It's one of the biggest trade eyewear magazines. We got the cover, and they got a few phone calls saying like, "Why did you put these Black women on the cover?" And 2020 Magazine said, "Well, you can unsubscribe from our magazine, because we're making shift and we're making change."
Was that discouraging? People not taking you seriously first?
Um, in the beginning, it was really discouraging, and then I realized that like, we're creating something way bigger than we think. So it's our duty and our job to stay strong and keep fighting through it. And so now, if we ever go through that, and like, we're creating a really big platform, and if you still have old school ways of thinking, you can stay over there.
Okay, so how do you make your product stand out?
The way we make our product stand out, our design style is very unique. We always have little signatures when we're designing. And I think for us, when we're in our design process, in Breezy, she designs everything. We're always thinking about, how do we create a product that is quite standard and can fit everybody, whether they're super into fashion or if they're more traditional, but still have that little, like, that small little bit of edge that gives you the Coco and Breezy. So sometimes we might make a classic frame, but we play around with the colors. Or sometimes we mix a lot of the acetate and the metal, and then we add the texture. And so I think that our color coordinations and our materials and some of our small angular shapes of our products, that's what makes our glasses stand out.
So about the process, what is the process of designing your eyewear and actually creating your products look like?
Yeah, so our process is, first we get inspiration. And Breezy's our designer. I usually just approve everything, but we get inspiration first. We're like, okay, what's our colors going to be this season? Or what sort of shapes we want to do? And then one thing for us is that if we have, like, we don't believe in collections going out of style. If we have certain styles that sell really well, we're going to bring it back because nothing's ever old, you know? So we think about what shapes did really well and what styles should we bring back and possibly give a new color. And then after we go from the conceptual mode, Breezy loves drawing. And so she also likes designing when she's not, like, she doesn't like to sit down at her desk and say, hey, I have to design. She's the type of person that's like, I'm going to go to the park. I need to get out of the, back when we were in our office, she'd be like, I'm not coming into the office this week. This is design week. I'm going to go to the park, or I'm going to go ride the train, or I'm going to go sit at a restaurant and design. You know, and we're always about all the senses. So when we're in our creative mode, we like to have incense burning. We like to have music playing. And we like to just be in new environments. And something where we get a lot of inspiration is living in New York. And when you ride the train, you get like market research like this. So literally we would just stare at people all the time and see what sort of glasses they had on and what shapes worked well on certain faces. And people were probably like, why are they staring at me? But really, I'm just like looking at their face and seeing how the glasses fit their face shape. And so after it goes into like the sketch design mode, we have a team of experts who are good at AutoCAD. So it goes from sketch and then it goes into a digital design. And that's when we add all the measurements to the product. So when I look at my glasses, I know every measurement. You can turn it any way, and there is a measurement associated with each piece of the frame. And then after that, it goes into sample production. And now we've been really good with our design, and like we practiced and like did so much educating to ourselves with like issues we had in the past. So when we were younger and didn't really know much about eyewear, we would have to go through like 3 different samples. Fortunately now we usually only have to go through 1 sample and we can press go on production if it's good.
So like how long would this like estimated how long would this whole process take?
This full process is about like 90 days. 90 days for production, and then for design and concept, it's about 30 days.
Okay, so I know your sense of style is really unique and that transfers to your glasses. Like when did you develop your own sense of style?
I would say, I'm sorry, I have to plug my computer up really quick. One moment. Sorry about that. One moment. So I started developing my own sense of style since I would say when I was 5. When I look at my old photos, my mom had us looking fly and she had us looking different, you know, seriously. And so I appreciate her because literally I look at all my old pictures and we had some fits on. And our outfits may have been from Kmart or a thrift store, but my mom had us looking fly. And I think that's the beautiful part about style. It's not about how much something costs. It's about how you wear it. It's like you can buy something that's $2 or you can buy something that's $50. And that $2 something might look better than the $50. And so I think that it's so important that when it comes to style, we can't look at price. We have to look at the actual product itself. And then once you put it on, then your personality shines through. And so it's you in the product. And that's what style is. It's not about the brand name. It's about how you wear it. And so starting young, our mom and our dad, they really let us like express ourselves. And then once we got into middle school, that's when we started like coloring our hair. We had every hair color in the book. And I think our personal style definitely kind of like gave inspiration for our eyewear. And so now we want people to feel like when they put our glasses on, they're a whole nother person. And I can say most people that wear our glasses, they say that their personality changes in a great way when they put our frames on.
So do you feel like your parents letting you express yourself when you was younger encourage you now to
Yes,
express?
yes, I feel super grateful. When we were younger, they let us express ourselves. As we got older, they still encourage it. And I think that if they would have held us back when we were younger, we probably wouldn't be where we are today because our style self-expression actually like formed who we are as women today.
Okay, so the world knows you as Coco and Breezy. Are those nicknames? And if so, how did they come about?
So Coco Breezy are nicknames, but they're kind of like our real names, but not really, because our real names are Coriana and Brianna, but our family has been calling us Coco and Breezy since we were babies. And I think that's so cool. I don't know how they got Coco and Breezy. Maybe it was just like shorter to say, and that they Brianna and Coriana. But be really embarrassed of those names. Like when my mom and dad would call us Coco and Breezy in front of our friends, I used to be like, "Don't say that in front of my friends. I'm embarrassed." And then in middle school, when we were like we used to be dancers, so we were like in a dance crew. So we were like, okay, we're in a dance crew. We want to be cool. All right, we're gonna go by Coco and Breezy now to the public, And we had these little personalities. And I'll never forget. We made these little business cards. I found it recently, and I'm like, how are we making business cards at like 16 years old? What business were we doing? you know. But it said Coco and Breezy, and we're like, okay, cool, that's the brand. And I would never forget when we were actually creating the name for our eyewear company. We had a different name, and then a friend of ours was like, "You guys are your brand. You need to name it Coco and Breezy." And we were like, "Really?" So then we made a whole 360, changed the name to Coco and Breezy. And I think the beautiful part now that I'm excited about is that we worked extremely hard to be sure that our product lives beyond us. When we first started, we had to be the ones to sell the product, but now that we've grown and we've like expanded our designs and our product line, we don't need to be the ones behind the product. Now it's just Coco and Breezy, and the story can be told through the product, but we don't have to be the faces all the time anymore. And that is that's honoring and it's exciting, which means that like we're touching all sorts of people around the world with our products.
So I saw that you got those really cool tattoos of Prince. So what did it mean to design those? What did it mean for you guys to design those trademark sunglasses for him?
Oh my gosh, it was so life changing. Even like when I look at this tattoo, it makes me want to cry every time I look at it. And I think that one, I've always wanted to design a frame for a legendary artist. It's like you see certain artists and they have like a staple piece in their wardrobe that everyone always remembers. And so when Prince asked us to make those glasses, I felt super honored, and we didn't know that he was going to actually wear them on TV. And so once he actually wore them on Saturday Night Live, we were like, okay, our lives are going to change, and this is it. And so Prince was actually a good friend of ours. We spent a lot of time with him. And I think that the most exciting part is that I feel like we can talk to anybody in the world and say, like, when people ask us, like, oh, you guys make eyewear? I haven't heard of your company. I'm like, well, did you ever see the third eye glasses that Prince wore? They're like, yeah, that's us. Oh, really? Yes. So now I feel like I can relate to anybody in the world from Prince.
So did designing those glasses for such a big celebrity work in favor for you for your company?
I would say it definitely worked in favor for PR, and because Prince was such a supporter, he actually tweeted the link to our website like a few days before he passed away and rolled the glasses out in his one tweet. And so I think that a lot of people they love to buy product from association, and so we have a lot of cool celebrities that wear glasses. But I think the fun part now in 2020 that it's not only about celebrities. Now you have like influencers, you have micro influencers. Sometimes the people that have less followers on Instagram get even bigger engagement than the people that have millions of followers. So I think that now in our generation, we can't judge art by follower count. And that's one thing I learned about Prince. Prince works with artists and creatives, and he didn't mind who someone was. So it wasn't about you being a creative that has worked with X, Y, and Z, or this creator that had millions of followers. Prince saw that your talent, and you live in the middle of Minnesota and no one has found you yet. I found you. Let's work together.
So how much input did Prince have into the design of the glasses?
The only input was him saying, I need glasses to cover my third eye. And they were like, okay, so we'll figure that out. And they have to be purple.
The next question is, as an influencer, what message do you send to your followers?
My one message is to just really follow your intuition with any idea you have, because sometimes if you have an idea about doing something, you might be afraid and you might have fear, but if your intuition is telling you to do it, like when you have that little gut feeling, listen to your gut. And I think that's so important. And it's like you think back about certain things or certain situations you've been in, and you're like, oh, I should have done X, Y, and Z. And so when you're in the moment, if you feel it, go for it.
Okay, so that was actually our last question. Thank you so much for talking with me. I
Oh,
really
you are so wonderful. Thank you so much for having us. I feel really honored.
thank you.